Hello and welcome. Today's video is all about the question, what is philosophy and why is it important? So I've done a few videos now and I've touched on a variety of different philosophies. I've done some explanation of concepts that come out of philosophy and so on. But what I haven't really done yet is define exactly what philosophy is and, more importantly, why you should care. So that's what this video's about in a nutshell. So before we get into all of that, I would like to ask you to do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe and share the video around and so on and so forth, all of those things. So now the sort of shameless self-promotion is out of the way. Let's start thinking about it. So philosophy at its core is the act of figuring out how best to think about something. It's a discipline that examines the most fundamental aspects of life: existence, knowledge, values, reason, and morality. And it does so through the lens of critical thought and logical analysis. It's not merely about providing answers to life's great questions, but rather about framing those questions in such a way that it leads to deeper understanding. So the importance of philosophy lies not just in its subject matter, but in its methodology. It equips individuals to think clearly, argue rationally, and explore complex ideas systematically. So this exploration is crucial because, as we'll see as we go through this, philosophy shapes the way we think, act, and perceive the world around us. So essentially, philosophy has a role in structuring thought. So the statement, philosophy is the act of figuring out how best to think about something, it is a statement that I think perfectly encapsulates the essence of the discipline. Philosophy doesn't simply provide knowledge or facts. It teaches us how to approach, analyse, and indeed interpret information. In a world flooded with data and opinions, philosophy offers a way to sift through the noise and engage with ideas in a meaningful way. It encourages the examination of underlying assumptions, helping individuals to avoid superficial or misguided conclusions. For instance, when we confront ethical dilemmas, philosophy offers us a variety of structured approaches, such as deontology, which is like duty-based ethics, or utilitarianism, which is consequence-based ethics. Rather than immediately acting on instinct or emotion, philosophy encourages reflection on the nature of morality and the consequences of our actions. This process of analysing and framing the questions of what is the right thing to do exemplifies how philosophy helps us think through life's challenges thoughtfully. So, philosophy is we think of it as a singular field, but actually philosophy is something that has many branches, and it's the collection of those branches overall that makes philosophy. So the first branch we're going to look at is the one that we all think of first when we think about philosophy, and that's metaphysics, which is the study of reality and existence. And metaphysics helps us to think about the nature of being. It addresses the fundamental questions like, what is the nature of reality, or what does it mean to exist? By helping us frame these questions, metaphysics shapes our understanding of existence itself, urging us to reconsider what we might take for granted about the world and indeed our place in it. And then we have the next branch of philosophy, which is epistemology, the study of knowledge. And epistemology teaches us how to think about what we know and how we know it. In an age where information is abundant, to say the least, but also often questionable. Epistemology asks, what is knowledge, and how can we distinguish between true belief and justified knowledge? It provides the framework for distinguishing credible information from, mere opinion, which in turn shapes our pursuit of truth. So the next branch of philosophy we're going to look at is ethics, and this is probably the one that we sort of non-philosophers actively engage in on a daily basis. So ethics is concerned with how we should act. By teaching us how to think about moral choices, ethics provides guidelines for evaluating right and wrong. Rather than relying on things like societal norms or personal bias, philosophy encourages a reasoned approach to morality, considering both individual and societal well-being. And the next branch of philosophy is logic. So logic provides the structure for reason, essentially. So it teaches us how to form valid arguments, recognize fallacies, and arrive at sound conclusions. In a world filled with bullshit and faulty reasoning, logic is crucial for thinking clearly and ensuring that our conclusions are based on sound reasoning. And then we have the branch of philosophy that we call aesthetics. And this deals with beauty and art. And it helps us to think about what we consider valuable and meaningful in creative expression. And it might seem on the surface like it's not that important, but actually it is incredibly important to us human beings. Even though we like to say that aesthetics doesn't really mean anything to us, it absolutely does. If it didn't, then we wouldn't, in my opinion at least, we wouldn't have a concept of things like beauty and art and so on. So aesthetics asks us to examine why certain things move us, why we regard some forms of art as beautiful, and how these experiences contribute to our understanding of life. And the final branch of philosophy that we're going to have a quick look at is political philosophy, which prompts us to think about justice, rights, and the roles of individuals within a society. By critically examining government structures and legal systems, it encourages a deeper understanding of the best ways to organise human society for fairness and equality. So those are like the main branches of philosophy, but each of those could be further broken down into much more specific branches. So that is the sort of core of philosophy, essentially, those subjects, but it's not the whole. So philosophy's importance really lies in its ability to sharpen our thinking and our reasoning abilities, allowing us to navigate the complexities of life with greater clarity. In the fast-paced world of today that's overloaded with information, the need for clear thinking has, quite frankly, never been greater. Philosophy teaches us to question assumptions critically and to examine ideas critically and to avoid falling prey to things like biases or logical fallacies and that sort of thing. Whether it's in politics, science, education, personal relationships, or pretty much any other field of human endeavour, philosophy provides us with the intellectual tools that we need to make informed, reasoned decisions. Philosophy also encourages a reflective mindset, which is essential for personal growth. By asking us to think deeply about what we value, how to define success, or what makes life meaningful, and so on, it fosters self-awareness and a more thoughtful approach to life. The practice of philosophy can lead to greater fulfillment as it helps us as individuals to align our actions with our beliefs and values and creating a sense of purpose. Another reason that philosophy is super important in the world, and why it's something that I personally believe should be taught to children at school, beyond what we've covered so far, is that it serves as the foundation for many other disciplines, if not nearly all other disciplines. Science, for example, is deeply rooted in epistemological questions about knowledge and reality. The scientific method itself, which emphasizes observation, experimentation, and reasoning, is actually a product of philosophical inquiry. Similarly, legal systems are based on philosophical principles of justice and ethics, and political systems often derive their their legitimacy from philosophical debates about governance, rights, and equality. So in this way, philosophy isn't it's not in any way, shape, or form an isolated discipline. It does not in any way sort of live in isolation. It is entwined with every aspect of human thought and activity. By teaching us how to think critically and indeed deeply about any subject, it forms the intellectual bedrock upon which other fields of knowledge are built. Philosophy is, as the statement I made at the beginning suggests, philosophy is the act of figuring out how best to think about something. Whether we are contemplating the nature of reality, making moral decisions, or simply seeking to understand the world around us, philosophy provides the tools necessary to engage with those questions in a meaningful way. Its importance lies not only in the answers it seeks, but in the process that it encourages, the cultivation of thoughtful, reasoned inquiry. So in a world filled with complexity and uncertainty, philosophy offers a path towards clarity, understanding, and wisdom. It is a discipline that teaches us how to think, and by doing so, how to live a more thoughtful, reflective, and indeed more purposeful life. So that, in a nutshell, is what philosophy is. Now, a 10-minute video or whatever it's been could never truly do justice to explain what philosophy is. But this, I feel, is as good a starting point as any. And the statement at the beginning that philosophy is the act of figuring out how best to think about something, I think, as I said before, perfectly encapsulates the essence of philosophy. So, with all of that in mind, I would like, no, not would like, that's what I would like is irrelevant. I think it would be beneficial to you as an individual to think about the ways in which you are already applying the sort of the mindset of the philosopher in your daily life. Because when you can identify those things, that will in turn teach you something about the way you think, the way you perceive the world, and so on. But also, it will allow you to refine those thought processes and move closer to some measure of truth in life. So have a go. Look at your life as it currently is and figure out how you are applying the principles of philosophy to the various situations you face in life. And if you want to, jump in the comments and let me know. And share with us all, because that would be wonderful. But you don't have to. It's not one of those channels where, I'm going to make you work or anything like that. So you don't have to, but I would love to hear about it. So if you do, thank you. But yeah, that is pretty much it for today. I may do a longer, much more detailed video about this in the future. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. That would be helpful to me, so that I'm not just yelling into the void. I'm actually doing something useful then. But yeah, so before I go, make sure you do all the YouTubey things, like, subscribe, share the video, and so on and so forth. That would really help me out, but also it means that YouTube will show you more of my videos, but also, more importantly for you, it will show you videos of other people that are talking about similar things. Because the wider the perspective you can get, the better. The greater number of viewpoints that you can assimilate, the more refined your own viewpoint will become. So, yeah, do all that. It'd be wonderful for us all. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching and listening to me ramble. And I hope to see you on the next one.